She went to see if Bonnie's downstairs.
Oh, I think it was maybe half a dozen people on somebody.
Sounds like she might be.
And I still see people in the grocery store. Just come in there, yeah, the other day.
Hello. I feel like a princess, like you guys are the prince all right.
We're gonna call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Recommendation is that the agenda for the council meeting of September 15th, 2025 be approved as presented. May I have a mover and seconder? Welcome back, Councillor McConnell,
Thank you.
and seconded by Councillor Young, Councillor Tracy Young.
Right.
All in favor? Carried, thank you. Are there any declarations of interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. We don't have any presentations, but we do have a delegation from Bonnie Pigeon tonight. She is the executive director of the South Granville Food Bank, and she's going to talk to us about food insecurity. And the floor is yours, dear.
Everybody see behind this?
Just stand up.
Which I could. So I've been told I have 10 minutes. So you're gonna get the quick version. So if you have any questions, you guys all know where I am. So this month of September is Hunger Action Month. Thank you for having me here tonight. We serve the county of South Granville, which includes the town of Prescott, Township of Eversburg Cardinal, Township of Augusta. We have 3 physical locations: Prescott, Cardinal, and Spencerville. We had a 4th location in Maitland, but clients still couldn't get to us because of transportation barriers. But that's okay, we've come up with another idea. We are creating a new program right now to get a transit van, and we will have a mobile food bank truck, which will stop in multiple places throughout South Granville to ensure that everybody has access to food. We currently deliver to shut-ins and people with disabilities that cannot access food. We're about 30 households in the summer, and that increases in the winter, people with disabilities and that would not be able to get food otherwise. People are turning to food banks are seeing high records, and South Granville is no different. Did you know that 2 million people access food banks in Canada on a monthly basis? 2 million. 1 in 7 households in Leeds, Granville, Lanark are food insecure. 1 in 7. So I have some numbers. Numbers are kind of boring, but once in a while I'm allowed to be boring. So a registered household, when we talk about registered, it means they registered once. They can come 12 times, 13 times a year, but they registered once. So in we go from 2022 to the end of the year, and that's 420 households. In 2023, we had 491 households, and in 2024, we had 562 households registered in food bank. The average household visit is 12 to 13 times. In January of 2025 to July 2025, we actually, so far this year, have seen over 481 households registered already in 6 months, and 1,116 people accessing food banks. Now, you'll see numbers throughout your program that talks about larger numbers. That's duplicate. Every time that door opens, we're serving clients. So we have a base number, of course, of registered clients, but every time they walk in, we're serving clients. So we get into the 2, 3, 4, 5,000 individuals that have been served, sometimes multiple times, sometimes for the first time. The number of unique households we serve has seen a steady increase. In January 2023, 2024, the food bank's usage increased by 16.9%. From January 2024 to January 2025, the food bank usage increased by another 14.5%. Households served reporting of the first, so this is multiple people. So in January of 2022 to the end of the year, we served 2,689 people. Now remember, they could be unique or they've come multiple times. In 2023 to 2024, we served 3,084. This year in 2024 to 2025, 3,699 people have walked through our doors. So new households between 2022 and 2025 is, so really it's the end of 2024, December 2024, 108 new households registered in Cardinal at that food bank. 298 new households in that time period registered in Prescott and had access to food. Spencerville, 14, we have a food bank in Spencerville. To me, that's astonishing numbers. Now, we have an entire report, and we can get into that at another time. I was texted by somebody that said, Bonnie, we love you, but not more than 10 minutes. So I don't want to get into a whole bunch of things. But we run incredible programs. If you have any questions, one of my favorite is Tools for Launch. And the reason it's my favorite is I believe I've been doing this for 23 years and I want to be part of a solution. So when people start a new job, we, the food bank, works with employers and CSE Consulting, and we provide them with 2 weeks worth of food. And it's a purchase item. We don't just say, here's this and this. CSE would go out and buy the food for the client, and we don't even know their name. But we do tell people that make sure they're not giving that to use to feed their family, because we also have a program, which I call the hamper program, to help them feed the family. If we want people to get jobs and work, we have to support each other along our journeys. And part of that support is making sure the first and best step forward, if you got a job and you didn't eat supper the night before, and you didn't have any breakfast, and you didn't take lunch, what does that do? What does that do by day 3 when you haven't even got a paycheck yet? What's going to happen is you might not want to sit at the new table with all the new employees. You might be embarrassed and you want to go somewhere else. You might not show up to work the 4th day because you haven't eaten. If food is a barrier, we will support that. We will do the very best as the food bank and our community to help that person through their journey. And I think it's important to talk about that program because often, unfortunately, people think of food banks as only people using them as a means and they never end. And that may happen. People might need us through their life because of their circumstances. But also, we want to make sure we're there for every client with their journey, with their family. No child in South Greville should go hungry under any circumstances. I want to thank you for your time. I've tried to be really quick. I do have one quick family thing. We are, like everyone else is, we are asking for a declaration of food insecurity. We are so lucky in South Greville because our council gets it. They've been with me during the journey. This declaration, Brockville just did it, I believe Smith Falls just did it. This declaration is to take it higher up. Change needs to happen. If change does not happen, we're going to be in big trouble as a community, as South Greville, and across Canada. Because if people can't survive now, what's going to happen in the future? And I think it's time to show all of our governments that we need action. We need to put this on the table. We need to finally talk about it. And what does that action look like? So thank you for being my champion tonight, to have me here. Sorry I was late. Thank you so much for giving that consideration and working with your staff. I will tell you, it's absolutely incredible. I've worked with several people around this room fighting food insecurity. And we will fight this together and we'll make sure nobody goes hungry. Just think that we're all tapped out and stressed. If there was no charity to help with the people that are vulnerable in our community, where would we be? So thank you so much for bringing me to the table.
Great. Thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome. And don't forget the casino night's coming up next Friday. Augusta already has a Find Augusta table there, so I expect to see you guys as well. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart because you've developed who I am the last 23 years as the executive director, and I carry that honor. I really do. But it's because of all the wonderful people that have been part of my life. Thank you so much. Did I go over 10 minutes?
Oh, you're good.
Oh, I tried my best.
Good job, Bonnie.
Good job. Thank you. So I think staff's working on something like that, and you'll bring that next meeting or so?
The intention of staff is to bring it to October 6th. We have an accompanying report to provide council with regards to the summer pilot program for luncheons. And we felt that that was the appropriate time to also bring back the requisite declaration for the food bank.
Great. Thank you.
And if you guys don't need me, I'll leave unless you have questions for me.
Councilor Conley?
I do, if you don't
Go
mind.
ahead.
Sure.
Bonnie, as you know, I've supported you and the food bank since I've been on council and the extra requests that you've made from time to time. But I have a question as far as this traveling food bank, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Where are you looking for the money for this vehicle? Are you looking for some kind of a grant somewhere? Are you looking for the 3 townships to pony up?
Well, gee, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. No, but seriously, on a serious note, in the middle of my sleep one night, I thought, it broke my heart to close Maitland because I thought, oh my goodness, finally we got some attention in Augusta to be somewhere so people don't have to come to the other areas. And nobody was coming. And I thought, this is weird. And it's because they couldn't get to us. It's just too far and there's too many issues and stuff. So I wrote a grant for $30,000. I've also looked at doing some fundraising. I may have somebody who may be interested in fundraising for us at Christmas. And then I've asked my board at our meeting September 30th to see if they'll put in a small investment as well. I think it's pivotal, and of course, it's a transit van for that program, but I can use it for when I go to fundraisers. I can use it when we're moving food from Cardinal to Prescott because, all our volunteers love that. So I just think it really is the next step. And you never know, for sure, we could talk to council. I won't let more you guys have promised.
You do, I helped Mike Ostrander deliver.
Yeah.
Once he was short, I offered to help him out again, but, so I know you do deliver.
Yes.
And I was astounded how far outside of Prescott you actually do deliver. So would this take the place of that?
Yes. Now I have to figure out how to put it all together, but the problem with, or the obstacle we have with delivery is, and you saw how far we go, with a transit van, you would be able to put in the proper coolers and stuff so that things are proper, right? Like we got to be so careful about where it goes. And now they're coming back to, and I don't know about that day when you came, they come back to the food bank 3 times so that we're keeping stuff in the fridge and freezer. This would allow us to be more organized. Replace, I don't like to say the word replace because we have people that, like Mike, who's helped us create these programs. But I think it would help us get into a position because Mike might not want to do it forever. And we are finding that things have pivoted where people maybe 10 years ago, they worked at the food bank for 10 years and they did everything in their own cars, but we are finding there's a small pivot on, yes, I'll volunteer, but you can't use my vehicle. So we want to start becoming more self-sustainable.
One more. So from what I understand, you're saying then you would still be looking at volunteers to drive this vehicle, not another employee?
No, to me, we just can't afford, we have 2 employees and a part-time employee. We can't afford a whole bunch of employees. We can't become employee heavy when we have such incredible volunteers. So my vision, and of course it would take time to develop and then see whether that worked, my vision would be this. Let's say you picked every Tuesday, every week, and you would find 6 locations and you would go to the locations and the goal would be people would pre-order, just like they do with the deliver program, and we would bring food to them. So we would go Maitland Hall, Algonquin Library, North Augusta Rec Center, and then Roebuck Hall, just some of those places. But we also would be focusing on how we could develop the delivery program into this. So right now we deliver once a month. What happens if someone needs it in the middle of the month? You have to wait the entire month. Well, we end up, nobody ever waits, I can assure you that, because my employee and I or any of my volunteers are like, oh, we'll go out and help. But this would be more effective and more efficient. So we would like volunteers to run that and then drive the van around and do that. And it'd be on a weekly basis so there'd be better access to food.
Okay, very good.
We definitely wouldn't replace Mike and Doug and all the wonderful people, but we probably will start to marry it and merge it together.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, Bonnie, you're good.
I'm out of here.
Thank you.
I'll leave these cards, and of course, I'm going to see you all at the wonderful Casino for Hunger, right? It's going to be a lot of fun. And I believe the fire hall is actually going to be doing the bar.
Oh,
So we think it's very important now, especially now that we know that all charities are struggling, to collaborate and build partnerships. And we are absolutely honored that they are going to be doing that with us. So we're helping them. So you're coming and helping the food bank, but also when you get a brewski, you're going to also support the wonderful fire department. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Nice to see everybody.
All right, we're going to move on to the minutes of the previous council meeting. Motion is that council minutes dated September 2nd, 2025 be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councilor Burton, Deputy Mayor Kirkby. Any questions, errors, or omissions from the minutes? Being none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Nothing under communications and petitions. Consent reports 8.1 is the council information package. The motion is that all items listed under the consent report section of the agenda be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Campbell and Councillor Ray. No one wants to pull anything out of there? Councillor McConnell?
It would save time if I could simply ask the question.
Okay,
If not,
I've been in
I'll
favor
pull
of
it
that.
and we can deal with it next week. It's a very simple thing. The Board of Health update, and this would be for Mr. Armstrong, it indicated that they were looking at synchronizing, as I understood it, the contributions from the municipalities. Is that a worry for us? I know, given the expenses that we have had with the major projects and fire trucks and this and that, that at a certain time of year in the fall, we're stretched. If this should happen to come at an inopportune time, is it going to bother us?
So if I may put to you, Mr. Mayor, so we don't see it as being an issue for this year. They were clear when they originally provided their estimate to each of the municipalities that they were just simply going up by 5%, and they felt for 2025 that was sufficient. I think when we get into 2026, that's where we're going to have more of an understanding of where they're thinking in terms of the leveling between municipalities. So I don't foresee it being an issue for 25, but certainly something that's on the radar for 26.
Thank you.
All right, we have a mover and seconder, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. No committee reports. The mayor's report, just a few things since our last meeting. We're fortunate to have the Minister of Long-Term Care in town. Her name is Natalia Kuzendova Bashta. She's a lovely lady. She even had her under 1-year-old child with her for the whole week. And did a great job at Wellington House. Such a huge project, a big milestone for this town, doubling the bed capacity. And we're hoping that by the end of 27, maybe we'll have that up and running. So I know they said that she visited also Mapleview, and they were at this time last year, they were at 89% completion. So it took a year to get to 99%. So these things take time. It looks like it's going up fast, but it's a big couple of steps. So it's great for the town. We also I went to Spencerville Fair opening ceremonies, which was very well done. The 170th anniversary of their fair. What did someone mention the other day that the fair has been around longer than Canada's been around? Like Canada was established, I think, in 1867. So pretty amazing that they've been going that long. And they had a really nice presentation of a big Adirondack chair that Miss Chloe and I saw there. So that's something that we're looking at, right, Sam? Yeah. So that's something good. Stay tuned for that. On the weekend, there was also the Terry Fox run. Congratulations to Art and Jody Hitzman that run that. Well done. That's been going on for many years, and they always raise lots of money for that. I know our pop-ups are still going strong with some live music and everything, and that's it for me. So I'm going to run around this way and start with Deputy Mayor Justin Kirkby.
Never thought we would come this way first.
I know, I hope so.
I attended a couple of the same events. The groundbreaking at Wellington House was great. Besides the capacity, what I heard was they're going to add 100 jobs there.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be a great addition to the area. I also attended the Spencerville Fair. We had my nephew who's 5, so we rented a child for the day so we could go out there and relive some of them past experiences that you have with the little kids that you don't have, by yourself. So it was great. Lots of fun out there. Just a couple notes from operations was winter maintenance preparation is underway. They had to complete an emergency replacement of the sanitary leads on Fort Town Drive after 2 collapsed, causing a backup. Street sweeping is ongoing. Will continue to throughout the fall. Really, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell?
For you. I attended the sod breaking at Wellington House, and the new name's gonna be Wellington Manor. It's done. And it was a beautiful day, and they had all the residents, a lot of residents out, which was great. I talked to a few of them, and they're very pleased to see this happening in their backyard. So in terms of fire admin, as I mentioned, the last meeting on September 2nd, they had their meeting on the same night. So from that, just to let you know that firefighters are well renowned in our community as volunteers, as well as saving lives. So they attended the Cardinal and North Augusta Labor Day parades. They did go to the Spencerville Fair on Friday, and they had Touch a Truck with their aerial truck. And they went in the parade on Saturday at the Spencerville Fair with an aerial and utility truck. They are promoting Fire Prevention Week, which will be October 5th to October 11th. And they have a new slogan for the week, which is Charge into Fire Safety. So lithium-ion batteries in your home. And they're going to have an open house on Saturday, October 4th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And to bring the family to see equipment displays, trucks, tour the fire hall, have a barbecue, and see Sparky. So, yeah, you can see. They also have 2 potential new recruits joining the force. And I believe that's it for fire admin.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Burton?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Yes, I also attended the Wellington Manor groundbreaking. It was nice to see all the different ministers there and Mr. Steve Clark, our MP, and lots of residents out and enjoying the scenery as well. Had a library meeting. We have 742 new members as of July. And we have over 2,000 active members in the library. It's nice to see. We still have lots going on in the library. And that is it for me. Thank you.
Councillor, is that just this year, 742 new ones?
As of July.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Tracy Young?
Thank you, Mayor Shaker. We had a, holy cow, just lost my, we had a planning advisory committee meeting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes, last week. So we granted 2 CIP applications, so that was good to see. I attended the South Grenville Chamber Boat Cruise along with Mayor Shankar, so always nice to see the Thousand Islands from a boat. Somebody that doesn't have a boat. I attended the Friday was a long-term care community engagement day in Ontario. So I attended Wellington House. They had a duck race fundraiser. MPP Steve Clark was there and Brent Norton from the Prescott Fire Department. So that was really good. We had a BIA meeting. We are actively recruiting new board members, and staff is going to bring forward some facilitator recommendations because we're going to start looking at doing a strategic plan. And just a reminder that the medieval fair is Saturday at St. John's Church from 10 to 3. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Councillor Ray Young?
Thank you, Mayor Schenker. I also attended the Wellington Manor groundbreaking or ribbon cutting, whatever it was called. And I took away from the speech that this is the largest single
Infrastructure.
investment in the town of Prescott at more than $50 million. It's hard for a country boy like me to calculate numbers like that, but that's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Quite amazing. So I thank our MPP clerk for his involvement in this whole thing, and we look forward to seeing the new residents move in it's going to be a year and a half from now, I suppose, but we'll get there. That's important.
You'll see the development every day though, right?
Yes.
Right out their window.
Yeah.
And you know what you said about MPP Clark, he's a big champion for this area. Like
For sure.
he fought hard because there was talk of that happening last summer and they just couldn't finance it properly.
Yeah.
So this is great.
Well, $50 million is a big nut to crack, for sure. The other event that I did attend back on September the 5th was the annual general meeting of Rito St. Lawrence. It caught me by surprise that Rito St. Lawrence has been functioning for 25 years. It seems like just a few years ago, we had our Prescott Public Utilities, and the council of the day had to make a decision whether we sell our assets to Ontario Hydro or we form our own distribution system. Council of the day, I believe it was Doug Hayes' council, made the decision, fortunately for us, to continue with an amalgamation of Prescott, South Dundas, Cardinal, Westport, and a public traded company called Fortis, who has experience in management of electrical and utility companies from one end of the country to the other. They were a company that was formed in Newfoundland and has since spread out, if not all the way across to BC in every province. They're very close to that. So we own 34% of the company. I think South Dundas, which is Iroquois and Morrisburg, they own about the same. Cardinal is 12%, Westport 10%, and Fortis 10% to make up 100%. So each year, the board of directors of Rito St. Lawrence look at their bottom line and decide to send out dividend checks. So for as long as I can remember, it's been in the $50,000 range. I can only remember 1 year during COVID that they did not file a dividend because they were concerned about bills not being paid during COVID. Anyway, I understand last year was the largest check that we received, something like $57.5. And this year it is again $57.5. This year was a record year for them. I'm talking 2024. On their $18 million in sales, they had a net profit of $475,000. The dividend that they've declared out of that is $170. And the reason they didn't increase the dividend this year is they have some large purchases and large expenses on the horizon, such as 2 of those large trucks have to be replaced. They're 15 and 16 years old. Again, I would have said, they're maybe 10 years old, but they're getting to an age where they have to be replaced. They've got large investments in Iroquois and Cardinal to develop in the next year. And they will be running a 44 kV line into Wellington Manor. So that is expensive to do. That's an Ontario Hydro quality line. That's not the local lines that run from house to house. So, those are big expenses, and that's why they've maintained the dividend from last year. Anyway, they had a very, very successful year, and they look like they're on track for another good year. And if you have specific questions, I will give the financial report to Matthew and he can answer.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Young. Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Well, as you know, I've been on holidays for about the last month or so, so I haven't had the ability to attend any of our local functions like the Spencerville Fair or the welcome ribbon cutting back at Wellington House. I did attend the Acadian Festival though in PEI, as did my wife, where she won the rubber boot tossing contest, which I'm sure is of note to everybody here.
Were you wearing the rubber boot?
No, I wasn't wearing the rubber boot. And it was a matter of kicking rubber boot, if you can ask that as well. No, it was a toss. Anyway, it was a good time. Since I've been back, which is just since last night, I took my normal walk around the waterfront this morning. And I had 3 questions or complaints already, so I'll pass them along. The one is in reference to the Heritage Committee, so I'll pass this along to Tracy. The former museum building on Water Street that has been under renovation for several years now. I noticed when I came back that there are 2 fixed glass windows in it, which are not appropriate to that age of building. Now, I don't know whether there's fretwork or something that's supposed to go in, but I would presume that that building is a heritage building and designated in the town. So if Tracy, you could look up and see whether they were permitted to put that type of a window in there, because it should have been checked with the Heritage Committee first. I will pass that answer along to the appropriate person. The other question, a complaint was in regards to a dog. Somebody who tosses a ball into the water for their dog, or a stick, which a lot of people do, has been told that they can no longer do that. They've been threatened with a ticket, I guess it would be, from our bylaw control officer. People have been doing that for years. Doing it with the dog's leash on is kind of iffy. If the dog happens to get caught on something coming out of the water, you would have to wade in to try and free. I don't know. I'm just suggesting that perhaps it's something that the town could have a look at, because I think it's going a bit too far. Having a dog playing on the water. The third one is not awful. I forgot the third one. So it couldn't have been too important. Anyway, I did take a tour through the cemetery. I'm on the cemetery board, as you know, this afternoon. Unfortunately, the drought that we've had has had a bad effect on some of the cedar trees out there. They appear to be dead. I think we'll just let them go till the spring to see if they come back or not. There is another couple of trees that I think are going to have to be removed this fall. We have a meeting upcoming next month while we were determine what we are going to do there. And other than that, I guess I will, I know what the third one was. It just hit me. A complaint about the lights down street. We have gotten ever since we changed them. in which we have gotten ever since before we changed them. We were never gonna make everybody happy down there. I explained the reasoning behind it again, and there's nothing that I feel like we need to do on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're gonna move on to our staff reports. We have 4 of them tonight. The first one is for information only, and it's our key infrastructure projects update with Matt Locke. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chamber. So this is to provide information about the ongoing status. We had 5 projects we identified as key infrastructure projects late in 2024. And so I'm providing an update for each one as of September of 2025. The first one is East Street reconstruction. It's currently in progress. It's on budget. It's supposed to be completed by the end of October. The underground work is now all complete. Early on in the project, especially in the first block, rock removal volumes were higher than anticipated. However, rock has receded the further north we've gone, and we're now right back to on budget in terms of rock removal and everything else. Water main is now operational, so we're reconnecting to the new line and disconnecting the temporary lines. Paving is expected to begin the week of October 5th. So things are really starting to come together for the reconstruction of East Street. The Seymour Recreation Center, so it's in progress, it's on budget. Ultimate completion of the project is targeted for summer of 2026. As you can see, if you've driven by it, some of the stuff looks like it's going to be done a lot sooner than that. So the walking track is now complete. In fact, all asphalt and concrete surfaces are now complete, save for a little asphalt ramp that we need to install for the playground. So really the walking track could be used at this moment. However, because there's ongoing construction and the equipment is still on site, we're not ready to do like a soft opening on it yet, but we do hope very soon. The playground is currently under construction. I just want to note to members of council, it does need to be certified for use. So we're not allowing the public to use it yet, and won't be even when other elements appear to be fully constructed. We do need to wait until a third party has come in, identified any deficiencies. We've completed those deficiencies per their liking. And so for now, the playground is closed and unfortunately needs to remain closed until we get through that regulatory step. But again, we expect at some point this fall, we will be able to open that playground out to the public. So the tennis and pickleball courts, the skateboard park, and the basketball and ball hockey facilities are all being worked on. We expect them all to be completed by the end of the year. We did install tile drains as an extra item on this project underneath the soccer fields. This is to help drain the site quicker in the spring, to hope that we can get people on the soccer fields even when you have a very wet spring. So that was an extra cost. However, it does remain within the contingency budget of the project. So as of right now, we remain on budget for the project. And as I sort of spoke to earlier, our intention is to soft open some of these facilities as they're completed, as long as they're safe to do so. So it just depends on where else we're doing construction on the site. So for example, the tennis and pickleball courts have a perimeter fence around them. The hope is once that facility is completed, we can start allowing public use of that as a standalone space because you're safely within the fence line. But in terms of some of those other facilities, it's really just dependent on, we can't allow someone to use a playground, for example, if we're doing construction 10 feet away from it with heavy equipment. It's just not safe. And so we don't have a the grand opening will be next summer when the soccer fields are complete, but certainly we're hoping that if safe to do so, we can start opening individual components of the facility. The next item is a marina dock replacement. So in fact, this year's project is complete, but the multi-year project is now complete. So work began in 2022, and since then, all docks have now been replaced at the marina. There was a delay this year in completion due to late arrival of pedestals, as well as an upgrade of electrical panels. The total investment on this project has been $1.44 million. So since 2022, really amazing to see the transformation of that facility. And we're now done with large scale replacements there for the next little while. Water treatment plant filter upgrades. This is another in progress project. It's currently on budget. We expect it to complete by the end of the year. 2 of the filter beds are now completed. There was a delay in the third one. we had a valve that malfunctioned, so we couldn't isolate that row. The necessary replacement has been completed there on that valve. We remain on budget, and we're back restarted on that work again. So we expect to be done before the end of the year on that project. Which again we're replacing the actual mechanical filters of the water plant. So it's sort of a necessary upgrade due to the age of the plant, but also the technology keeps getting better over time. And so they will be more efficient in terms of being able to pass water more quickly through the mechanical filters. Flood protection improvements at the water treatment plant. So this is a project to rebuild the walls along the water, to both rebuild those rock walls, which are kind of at the end of their service life. You'll see the concrete there is in poor shape, but also we'll build a larger capacity up so that we can take more water before we're flooding the property. So that project is on hold currently due to a grant application. So in June, we applied to the provincial grant for health and water safety. So that with any of these provincial grants, but this one in particular, any money that you spend before the grant is awarded is not eligible for reimbursement. And so because of that, we're just holding back tendering that project until we know the outcome of the grant. Whether we're successful or not, we'll still continue with the tendering of construction. We just felt it necessary to wait until we hear the outcome, because if we are successful, it will mean that all of those costs are eligible for reimbursement. Any of the costs we're approved for will be eligible for reimbursement. And then the wastewater treatment plant expansion. So this is by far our largest project that we're working on. The design phase is underway. The project remains on budget. The total project is expected to be completed by March of 2028. So in June of this year, we hired J.L. Richards to complete the design phase, which is due in February of 2026. We've been meeting with them every 2 weeks to make sure that we're making progress. They've been working very closely with the Aqua staff at the wastewater treatment plant to work through the design of the expansion and replacement of some of the deficient items we have at that plant currently. Simultaneously, we have EDB, our engineering consultants, working on a required environmental assessment of the infrastructure expansion. The survey work on that project is now underway. If you've been in that area, you'll see drones flying over the field in Augusta, directly west of Sophia Street. So this is how these modern survey companies work. It's instead of just being out there with stakes, they have a digital component now where you actually see drones over. Somehow they're able to mesh all that information together. So anyway, we remain on target for that project. So that's, I can answer any questions related to any of the key infrastructure projects.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions for Mr. Locke? Councilor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I've got 3 questions for you, Matt. On the East Street reconstruction, the stone that was taken out of there, have we stockpiled that for possible use on the waters we've done other years? Or has it just been chucked somewhere?
We have kept it stockpiled in our yard. I don't know that it sounds like in past years, perhaps we pulled out large size stone that could be reused. We didn't necessarily come across a great amount of pretty big stone, but yes, we do have a stockpile of the fill that we pulled out.
Okay, thank you. And as far as the play structure at the Seymour Recreation Center, when I was by there today, I noticed it's in place. It looks great. And kudos to our staff for snagging that from, where was it, Carl Place or Perth? Yeah, good on you. I notice around it, it's down probably, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet. What is it that we're putting in there for the playing surface, I guess you might say, around?
Well, we say mulch, it's really an engineered wood fiber product.
Okay.
So a foot of that goes.
Is it the same as we have down at the, by the marina?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. The last one, the wastewater treatment plant expansion, and this is probably something that Matthew can, well, I'm not going to say he can answer today, but if he can, he can bring us back the answer next week. Budget is $32,778,358. And before that scares anybody, how much of that is actually going to come up on the Prescott taxpayer?
So that's a good question. Any of the portion of the project, which is about 12 million, is in Augusta, and they will cover the complete co-payment on that. The remaining 21 million, a portion will come from Edwardsburg Cardinal, and the lion's share will come from Augusta purchasing that capacity from our plant. So while I can't exactly nail down the number, I do foresee that the $3 million that we have currently in reserve is sufficient to cover that, our portion of it.
Excellent. So there's no extra cost involved to our taxpayers for the benefit of that expansion.
That is what we're aiming for. Correct.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. So along with that, though, you forgot to mention that we did get a big grant for that. So that's good.
Yeah.
So Augusta's not paying 32 million.
Oh,
Okay, good. Don't want people at
Are
home.
we scared Augusta?
Yeah, before Augusta's what? Anyone else? Sorry, Councillor Young?
Construction, we probably won't see any construction this year on the wastewater treatment plant.
Correct, yeah, so the design will be completed in February. We'll move immediately into tendering to break ground spring of next year.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Burton?
Thank you. With the Seymour Recreational Center, was there signage saying that we're not open for business? This is still a construction zone. Please don't go there. Okay.
Yeah, so we could, I mean, we have. Yeah, we've cautioned taped the play
Right.
structure to be closed, but yeah.
Okay.
Certainly look at signage options.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burton. I know I put a photo of it up on Facebook, but I did put a disclaimer saying it's a construction zone, so. And of course, then this morning, someone sent me a picture. They're doing their walk on the walking outside. Now, is that allowed?
I mean, unofficially, after construction, we're certainly not going out of our way to police the site after construction ends. But we're not open, and it just because we just can't have that mix of heavy equipment and people on the space.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Locke? Thank you, Matt. That's great. Okay, we're going to move on to our next staff report, which is staff report 61-2025, the fire protection grant for 25-26. Chief Rennie will bring that to us. I'm just going to state the motion that council directs staff to submit an application under the fire protection grant for 2025 to 2026. Can I get a mover and seconder? Councillor Burton and Councillor Campbell. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. So quickly, last year, the council directed staff to apply for the fire protection grant. And at that point in time, we used the funding to purchase cancer minor infrastructure, which was our merger. So this year, there's a second phase of the province's protection grant. And we would ask this year, we would like to apply for cancer prevention equipment for balaclavas, which cover us, make us safe, as well as more gloves. So when we take stuff out of service, we have to wash it. So it's nice to have brand new stuff ready to go, and then we can just cycle them through. And then this year, they opened up another bucket, they call them, as lithium ion incident response. So we would like to move forward, if we're granted by council, to buy a specialty nozzle. So if there was a electric vehicle fire, because they're low profile and the batteries are under, and that's where the fire could be, the nozzles are very, very low profile, and we can insert them in, and then we can step far away and then hit it with water. So it's something we don't have on our force right now. So the total of the funding that we're asking for this year would be $16,000 is what the province would allow. And basically that would cover, those items would cover that. So it's kind of a quick nutshell of it, but I didn't know if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Oh, there it is. Councillor McConnell.
You knew it was coming.
Oh.
Chief, I fully support your application here, but given the piece that was in the paper not long ago about the electrical bus fire in Montreal, where the bus caught fire with kids on it and apparently reignited 3 times while it was being towed. Does our firefighters have any special training as in regards to electrical fires? Because of course with the 401 right next door, we have had many instances where you're out there. Is there any special training involved with that?
Excellent question, through you, your worship. So we have Jason DeFoss, who is the professional in extrication. We actually have him coming this month, and he's going to do some EV practice for us. I mean, we do have, like I have an app, the officers have an app, so it shows where we cut, where we don't cut. One of our firefighters actually owns an EV car, so we brought it in and did show us cut areas. There are just certain areas where you don't touch. So for us, it would be, we would look after life first, right? Make sure we're safe with our PPE, but then we would extricate some. So that part of that practice we have coming up this month will be how we access that, build that apparatus, that vehicle quickly and get people out. Because for us, basically, you're gonna get the people out, and if you have to back off and let it burn, you let it burn. And the fact that they do reignite, you are correct. So for us right now, we would use this, these type of things. We'd also use them for exposures. So it's not necessarily is that vehicle gonna be out in the highway or out on the roadway. It could be in someone's breezeway, their garage, and then the house is an exposure. So for us, it's still back to life and property, and that's what we would do. But there could be a possibility where we might just let it go. There's just sometimes there are things that you cannot mitigate, and that could be one of them. But that answered your question.
Yeah, well, water and electricity just don't really go very well together. I'm wondering maybe, I know the last fire, well, not the past, the fire truck we got before that had a foam complement to it. Is that something that you would use with the?
So another good question. So part of that funding with that nozzle would be the purchase of some of this new foam. And some documentation and discussion with a supplier, and we're gonna check it out because there's different class A, class B, and this would just be a new class. Yes. So for us, like I said, it's not cutting the major component of the line. Like you just don't do that, right? Because that's our danger, right? And for us, if it's on fire, then it's a hot zone like anything else, and we would mitigate that as we see possible, right, as we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell?
Question starts, when is the grant due and when would you find out if you're successful?
So this year, it's quite quick, actually, it's the end of September 30th, I have to have it in.
And then do they tell you quick enough after that?
Fairly quickly,
Yeah.
yes. So it's under the Transfer Payment Ontario system. So it's already on there as an application that I download, complete it, and then upload it. And then I send that off to my fire advisor, just to let him know that I have submitted to the province. So as long as you complete the documentation properly and you have your ducks in a row insofar as what you want to use for the funding, we would be successful.
Did you have a question? Go ahead.
Rainey, you know how I like to put you on the spot by asking you a question out of left field.
Thank you. That's it.
In our information package, there was a resolution from the town of Cobalt regarding the training that volunteer firefighters are required to have, which is exactly the same as full-time fire company personnel in downtown Toronto or whatever. I believe all of our senior members have had that kind of training, have they not?
So, for you, your worship, so right now it's the NFPA certifications. So right now, all of our current members of the force have firefighter 1 or 2. We have a couple just completing firefighter 2 as well. So for certifications for us, yes. And as the 2 new recruits, if they come on board, then they would have to go through the firefighter 1 and 2 as well.
All right, is there discussion of this amongst volunteer fire companies? This motion is pointing out that it's a lot of training, which isn't a bad thing, but it comes at a great deal of cost to a volunteer firefighter. He has to give up time. He has to go to school. So somebody is paying the bill along the way. I assume we pay for that. But the volunteer has to give up a great deal of time, of his own personal time, to do it. Is there some kind of conversation among volunteer fire companies that they'd come up with a better way, a different way, a less expensive way to get this kind of training?
Through your worship. So another good question. So it's an issue sometime with municipalities, fire departments having retention, right? And as you say, so say it takes minimum 100 hours of training for firefighter 1, and that's not including some of the time in the reading and the books. But for us, we are lucky that we have a council that supported us with an allotment of training money only for the NFPA training. So they receive a set amount for the time they spend during that. So that assists them in being able to say, you know what, I am a volunteer, but I'm getting paid to do this extra training. And then for us, we've been very lucky. We've worked with our neighbors. And again, we talked about council and how council works together and fire department works together. So we've had training with Augusta Fire and using their facility and them using ours for firefighter 1, as well as working with Edwardsburg Cardinal and Chief Moore and doing training there for firefighter 1. We just can't host one ourselves because of the amount of training for the trainers and the instructors. We just don't have enough people to do that. So what we do is we work with our neighbors. And then the training for those costs, they go through our training budget. So through the province that we've always done before for other training. But yes.
Yeah. Do you think we've lost the opportunity to get a volunteer firefighter because of some of these regulations?
I think we're lucky with the municipality and the group we have because they want to be here. They get that involvement in the community and are proud of what they do. I think that had we not been able to engage with council and allow us to have that capital to train them, that definitely helped. So again, as I said, thank you to council because I've said before, you get it and you support it. And I know I mentioned that to our group that you're very proud of our group. So
good.
Hopefully I answered that for you.
A1, Chief, as always.
Thank you. One last question, Chief. If you're unsuccessful, I hope you'll, with the grant, you'll come back to council and make a pitch for us to approve that. Okay? Thank you. All right, moving along, we're going to go with, oh, sorry, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you. All right, next one is staff report 62-2025. It's a financial report for the first half of the year. This is just for information and it's from our CIO, Matthew Armstrong. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. So not many changes from last month. Majority of the billing fees are generated in the second half of the year. The interim as well as the final taxes have already gone out, as well as we're continuing to receive our Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund payments. So when we take a look at our revenue overall, we're in pretty good shape. Transportation is behind. That's just due to timing of payments. Health is due to mostly the cemetery work that occurs kind of in the second half of the year. And I think those are the two major areas. And the protective services, we did receive the permit for the new grocery store. So that will make a significant difference in the overall amount. When we take a look at expenses, we're actually doing quite well. There's only two very small variances and then one slightly larger variance, mostly in planning and development. That's due to the timing of our tourism events that happen in the summer months and then slow down in the fall. So Councillor McConnell did ask that we just speak a little bit about seasonal and part-time staff. So at the end of August, our seasonal summer students positions come to an end, with many of them returning to high school and post-secondary education. Each year, some of those students will transition to other parts of the organization in part-time and casual role, and that includes in recreation, canteen, as well as rink attendance when vacancies become available. One of the things that we do is when we hire a summer student, we are able to observe them and evaluate them over that summer time. And then if they would be a good fit for one of those part-time or casual positions, then the offer is made. That allows us to have a relationship with those summer students over a number of years. Potentially, if we catch them early in high school, then it can be as long as 7 or 8 years by the time they've worked through high school and their post-secondary. And they become a mentor of the next generation that comes along. So it's a cyclical rotation that we use, and it's a great way to provide students with not only summer employment, but throughout the year as well.
Perfect. Any questions for Matthew on our financial update? Great, seeing none, we'll move on. Our last staff report is 63-2025, the license agreement, King Street Lights at the Coast Guard Base. Motion is that council approve and enact bylaw 38-2025, being a bylaw to approve the license agreement between His Majesty the King and in right of Canada as represented by the Minister of Fisheries, excuse me. I'm gonna mover and seconder for that. Councillor Burton, Deputy Mayor Kirkby, Chloe, this one's yours, right?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar, through you to council. As council may or may not be aware, since 1985, the town has had the pleasure of having a license agreement for the streetlights adjacent to the base property along King Street. Infrastructure in the lighting exists in this property boundary, and they permit this for a nominal fee. The agreement before you for consideration by the bylaw is to renew the agreement, which is set to expire September 30th of this year, which has been in place for 40 years, and set to commence a new agreement, which will be in perpetuity for a nominal fee of $1. If council should so choose to not approve this agreement, we may be in a position where the Coast Guard might ask us to remove our lighting infrastructure that is on their property. It is staff recommendation to proceed with this license agreement. The operation and maintenance of these lights was within our operational budget, and so we don't foresee any unusual activity than what is currently within the budget. I'm happy to take any questions or to field them within the staff that are present this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Preston. Any questions on our lighting agreement? Seems straightforward. All right, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, that's it for staff reports. So we don't have any resolutions, bylaws, new business, or notices of motions. We do have a mayor's proclamation this week. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas breast cancer is the most common cancer among Canadian women and continues to have a profound effect on individuals, families, and communities. And whereas early detection, improved treatment, and ongoing research have significantly improved outcomes for those diagnosed with breast cancer, but continued public education and support remain essential. And whereas October is recognized across Canada as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a time to increase awareness, promote early screening and prevention, and honor the courage of survivors while remembering those who have lost their lives to this disease. And whereas the town of Prescott supports the efforts of health organizations, advocates, and volunteers who work tirelessly to raise awareness, provide education, and fund research to eradicate breast cancer. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Gori Shankar, Mayor of the town of Prescott, on behalf of council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the town of Prescott, and encourage all residents to learn more about breast cancer, participate in local initiatives, and show their support for those affected by this disease. All right, is there any media questions tonight? No? So we're gonna have a lengthy closed session, so I'm just gonna make the motion that council move into closed session at 7:05 PM to discuss matters pertaining to approval of closed session minutes from September 2nd, 2025, proposed sale of municipal lands, potential litigation, potential leasing of private lands, potential purchase of private lands, and 19.6 is negotiation and of agreement of purchase and sale terms. This is all under section 239(2)C under the Municipal Act, acquisition or disposition of land, as well as under section 239(2)E under the Municipal Act, for potential litigation, and under section 239(2)K under the Municipal Act, plans and instructions for negotiations. And that the CAO treasurer, director of admin clerk, director of operations, economic development officer, municipal planner, and deputy clerk remain in the room. Just not you. Everyone but you, I could have said, but can I get a motion for that, please? Councilor Burton, Councilor Ray Young, all in favor?